And boom! Hey up troops, A Littleton here again with another video. And we're on Oregon for the setup for 2025. There are some changes to what we did a few years ago when we did Oregon, so we'll go through it. I'm not going to do, and spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you now at the start of the video, I'm not going to do the setup for kitchen and dining on this map because it's the worst site on Rainbow Six Siege. Instead, look at the third setup we do here, which is meeting and kitchen. Don't do kitchen and dining. If you want to see the kitchen and dining setup, it's on the old Oregon video, and it's still pretty relevant now, even though it's about 18 months old. So have a look at that. But I'm not doing it because I really need people to stop playing that site because it is. Anyway, that's enough waffling. Let's have a look at every reinforcement, rotate, head hole, foot hole, vert hole that you need to know to defend Oregon and win it. That's enough waffling. Let's get stuck into it. Before we do anything on Oregon, shoot this radio. It might be the worst one in the game. Oregon top floor. Let's get cracking. I've left a few wall softs. So I'm going to talk about things in a little bit more detail, but I'll be as fast as I can. But I do, as I've said before, this type of video, I want to go through every detail. So if you want to just see how to set the site up, skip to the end or just skip through the bits, but I'm going to explain why we do things, not just how we do things, if you know what I mean. So we're going to start over this end at armory. It's important that we reinforce the armory wall, okay? If you don't reinforce the armory wall, you can get a line of sight from here through the attic wall here, and you can also get on rappel here and see over the top of here down into attic as well. So always reinforce this left-hand side armory wall. With that said, I would normally reinforce it whilst I don't want to have to reinforce every wall whilst I'm showing you, but I wanted to show you the angle that gave, so I left that unreinforced. Same here. People play head holes on this wall. I am not an enjoyer of these head holes. I feel like if you're playing in a coordinated 5... Oh, by the way, before I go any further, if anyone's wondering what this skin is, this is the reload shotgun skin that you got from the Twitch drops, or I think there's code you can redeem to get this shotgun skin if you want it. You have to get a code from someone who attended the event, or you could have got it on the Twitch drops when the final was on. I think it's really cool. I really like it. So back to the head holes. If you're in a coordinated 5 stack, these head holes can be useful. One, because if they haven't come through Master, you can use them to fight into Attic, and vice versa. You can be an Attic fighting onto Master. But the problem you have with these head holes is as soon as you lose top main control here, they can just cut off that rotate all the way. You see the rotate back there from Attic into Kids? That is an issue, and you just then won't be able to go back into Attic. And then that means if you can't stand in Attic here, that means that anyone who's pushing down from Attic there can get down to here for free, because you can't swing them along here because somebody could just be holding you from here. I am not an enjoyer of these head holes, and I feel that in 92%, I've made that up, in 92% of ranked players' lobbies as a defender, you'll be better off with this reinforced, in my opinion. Then we come over to the main breach. Now, there's a thing you can do here, which you see at the top level of play when Oregon was in Pro League. You would see that players would make a rotate here, and they would play really tight here with a shotgun, couple of mute jammers. Let me just make that a standing rotate, sorry. And they would play really tight here with a couple of... They wouldn't play here in view of the door, but just play here tight. You can challenge onto here with a shotgun. You can wait here and destroy sort of 2 or 3 drones in the action phase when the round starts. And then a bit like you do on Elbow in the basement, you can retreat and reinforce. Don't... If you play there and you lose your life, you're not really there to get kills. You're there to waste time and get a couple of drones. You don't really want to be swinging that door because people can take all sorts of angles on that balcony. They can be on rappel at the bottom. They can be on rappel at the top. They can be left or right at the door. Swinging that door is a death sentence, so don't do that. I mentioned this on the Chalet video. Always bring wall denial. I don't think there's any excuse not to bring wall denial. I mean, this wall's a bit easier because you can just go below and destroy it, but it means they still have to go below and destroy it. It's still a job to do. It's still an ash charge they have to use, or a Zephyr impact, or it's still something they've got to do. Make attackers do things so they'll end up doing things wrong or not doing things at all. So, main breach reinforced. We then come into Attic. We've got the Attic walls reinforced. You could do what I just mentioned over on Closet there, where you can make a little rotate, start the round out in Big Tower, get a drone or 2, then come back in and reinforce. It's a little bit more dangerous because there's quite a few windows over in Big Tower. Again, wall denial on here. We open the Attic hatch every time for 2 reasons. 1, because you can then hold this door if you need to. 2, you can be below here and meeting on this angle, and you can see for anyone walking past the planks here, you'll see them about here. 3, and for probably the most important reason, is you can put a prox alarm somewhere, say, up here. And when that prox alarm goes, you know exactly where that attacker's going to be because the hatch is open. They can't be stood here. They're forced from this angle, like down this sort of corridor here, down this channel. As soon as that prox goes here, you know they're stood in this square. Like, they can't be anywhere else. So when you swing, it's not like you're worried that you swing and they might be here. You know that as you swing, they're going to be there. Like, you can just quick peek it, essentially, for where it's going to be. They have to be on this channel here. They can't be on... Leave the hatch unopened, and they could be stood on the hatch, okay? Right, this is an interesting rotate, because most people would put a standing rotate here, and to be honest, I also put a standing rotate here most of the time. The reason why a vault rotate can work sometimes is because it can hide your little tootsies when you're hiding behind this bed. If you're back here in kids and you know they're pushing down attic, you can hold this angle here. Or you can be holding here and not, like, be worried about getting your feet shot because they can't see it. What will happen a lot of the time, or some of the time at least, is people will drop here and they'll prone drop, and then they'll just shoot your feet out from behind that bed. With this type of rotate, you can't see your feet. Granted, it does make it more difficult for going between sides, so just an option, but that's why if you ever see a vault rotate there, that would be why. Over into kids. We have a small rotate here on the left-hand side of this wall and feet holes on the right-hand side of this wall. I don't see this rotate used enough. There's no reason not to have it. It's not like it doesn't cause any major line of sight for the attackers. If you're an attacker, you don't see anything through there, really. You can see, you know, slightly down to that bunk bed, maybe, but it doesn't give you anything decent. But as a defender, if you're getting forced out of attic, the only other way out of this room is this door, which can be held from trophy door here. So if you're getting forced out, at least you can come out here, and you can then peek a different angle, or you could go around the bed, and you can peek that angle, and then you could get back into kids. Remember, if you're in this area as well, without this rotate, this is called hobo here, because this bed looks like it belongs to a hobo. This is called hobo, and you'll quite often see someone trapped here. If there's no rotate there, the only way out is either towards white stairs, or just sort of back towards this area through this angle here. Having that rotate there gives this player a way out of going back in here, going around to attic, peeking on a different angle from here. It's really worthwhile doing. The feet holes are here to hold this angle and watch anyone that jumps in big window. Really, really useful. You can also obviously open the hatch, and then open a line of sight there, and you can see people way far back who are pushing through kitchen. You'll get people who push small tower really early in the round to try and get map control. And as they're pushing up there, you have no idea how far back that is. I won't drop because it'll take me a year to get back up, but that is really far back in that room. They will not be expecting to get shot from that angle. Another good one is this angle here. So you can watch that door from above. So anyone that comes in the kitchen door below there. And the other good one from above is over here. And this is onto green corridor. And you can see the door there. So that's the door that goes into kitchen from green corridor. Occasionally you'll get people who push big tower and then decide to come down through this way to come up white stairs. If you get the call that someone's pushing that way, you can hold the door from there. Another nice thing to do on this site, whilst I'm just thinking out loud, is to open this hatch. And right at the start of the round, only for the first 20 seconds or so, just watch this door. Players run into garage all the time without droning. It's sort of, I reckon, 30-40% of the time you'll get a free pick here. You can also hold armory, but it's kind of tough because it's a difficult way out. But you can make head holes here and hold into master from armory. It's good doing that with castle. I have made a video about that with castle. Default plant spot is here, which I'll show you where that is downstairs actually just quickly. It's in the corner of Z if you're American, or Z if you're not American. And it actually lines up with this torn wallpaper. I make a hole here. Why has that not gone through both skins of the floor? We go back up and have a look where that was. You can see that it is bang on the plant spot. So if you're ever wondering where default plant is downstairs, that torn wallpaper will give you an idea of where this is. We've not talked about this rotate. So this rotate is for two reasons. One, because you can fight onto trophy from here, or you can fight onto big window from here. Now these sort of extend into head holes. Some people don't put a rotate here and they only put head holes here. I don't like doing that. Again, having the rotate there doesn't really give the attackers any great deal of benefit, but it means from top white you can now get in and obviously go around. The difference is if you only have head holes there, if you come up top white, your only way towards trophy would be back this way and through this gap again. Like this gap here, from sort of there to there, is like one of the busiest traffic areas of the map. That's why you get people just sitting on trophy door holding it. And that's why you sometimes get defenders playing a shield like here and then playing behind the shield onto trophy. I know that's not a shield, it's a prox. That is top 4 Oregon in a nutshell. I don't think I've missed anything out. I'm thinking as I'm speaking. Oh yeah, don't forget you can C4 over the top of this wall. So you can open that and then just, you know, chuck a C4 over there mid-round. Not a smoke, because it'll stick to the ceiling. But if you stand on here, you get a much better angle for your C4, by the way. If you stand here, you have to like really arch it and it can stick to things. If you stood up here, you get a miles better angle for your C4. It'll drop a lot closer to the door, whereas if you're down here, it tends to drop. I'll just show you. If you stood on that step up on the platform, you can get it to drop here. If you stood right next to it, it's going to drop that over here. So if someone's playing on the door like this, you want to be as close to this door as you can. That is Oregon top 4 in... I think I've rattled through quite a few things there. I don't think there's anything else to tell you. A really good spot for a vault camp is in there, by the way. Gives really good view. For some reason, you can see quite clearly out of the lampshade. So yeah, another spot there. But yeah, that's top 4. Let's get down in the basement. Right then, Oregon basement. Let's just get started with the hatches. Always reinforce all 3 hatches. So freezer, just try to walk through a wall. E-box. And laundry. So those 3 hatches get reinforced immediately. Now this is an interesting site, right? Another thing, always barricade this door. People rush laundry quite often, and having the barricade there just gives you another layer of like audio cues that someone's about to push down there. This site has arguably the most disputed and discussed setup for this wall and for this wall. Let's just start with E-box quickly because it's pretty plain and simple. We reinforce the right side, we can peek that onto blue. Don't give your life away. A mirror here goes unbelievably hard. Plus unbelievably hard. I'm 36. Why am I trying to talk like that? The mirror here is very functional. And then obviously have the hatch, excuse me, have the hatch reinforced and caded ideally. You don't want someone just getting the hatch so easily. You can just get this mirror off. You've also got to think about playing Jaeger and Wamai on this blue door to stop the ash charges just destroying the mirror at the start of the round, and you lose all the value the mirrors brought. You basically brought an operator for no reason. If you bring a mirror on this site and you don't bring a Jaeger or Wamai for this door and a cade for this hatch, then you're playing the site wrong. Well, no, it's just not worth bringing a mirror if you're not going to do those 2 things. I need to cough again. I'm really sorry. Right, all good. If you're not going to bring those, don't bother playing the mirror, frankly. We've then got head holes, or well, higher than head holes here, so you can peek onto the tower. Again, it's not a fight that you really want to be taking up here because it favors the attacker. Like you can only see a bit of their head. They can see like all your body here, but it's there just to let them know that they can't walk down their stairs for free. Right then, we come on to the one where I disagree with the majority of the community on this rotate. Oh, quick tip. Always shoot out these fans, this fan, and this fan. Because when you're playing smoke, when you're like trying to smoke deep into laundry, it can get caught on the fan. And again, the fan was up here. When you're trying to like smoke the door, sometimes your smoke can get caught on the fans. So just do that. And that one doesn't really matter, but I like getting rid of it anyway. This wall. I like the rotate on the right-hand side of this wall as you look at it because you can fight more onto laundry from here. If you rotate this side, you can't see laundry. As you can see there, the angle closes up with this pillar. In terms of fighting onto elbow, it doesn't really matter which side the rotate is, but I like it because you can fight onto laundry, and also from here, you can take a side step and fight into freezer. Now this, you can't quite see the stairs. You see that sort of grey line there? That's the bottom of the stairs. So you can't quite see the bottom of the stairs, but you can see enough to put a few shots in there. All from this one spot, so you can go freezer, laundry, blue. I really like having the rotate this side. It's more active. However, if someone said to me, I don't want it there, I only want the rotate this side, I could understand that as well. It's a bit, so bear in mind, I'll tell you what, we'll reinforce it. I've told you where I prefer the rotate, but I'll show you what it looks like if you do what 90% of the community do. The idea is as well, when someone's pushing down blue, there's more of a chance, or like, this gives it more cover into sight by the rotate being there, because all of a sudden the sight doesn't get opened up from here. But my argument would be, if an attacker's got to this point in blue and you've done nothing about it, you've got more problems than this side not being reinforced. So as you can see from here, we now can't really fight onto laundry. You got one tiny little pixel that's not really that useful, and you can't see anything in freezer. You have to come through here into this way to see freezer. That's why I prefer the rotate that side. You can also smoke laundry from in here quite comfortably. Like to smoke laundry from in here, you'd have to like... There you go, what, 1 pixel. If I go pixel to the left or a pixel to the right, it doesn't go. So I play a lot of smoke here, although based on the Clash rework, I'm probably going to be playing Clash here soon. It's harder to do that. I prefer the rotate that side. Right, then we've got this angle. I always make a rotate here. Reason for that is if you're coming down from pillar, every person is going to be holding this rotate from here. I'm expecting you to come through this rotate. Being able to come through here gives you a different angle to fight there. Also means you can hold blue a little bit if someone was to push through blue from here. If you lose blue, you can still get an angle back onto there. I've seen a few other people, especially Alka, who makes similar videos to me good self. He prefers this side open. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong in my humble opinion. It's just what you prefer and the angles that you prefer to hold. Try them both out and see which one you prefer. Personally, for me, I prefer having this rotate here. And they kind of like head holes as well, so you can peek into laundry. Also, another nice thing, to make a little punch hole here. You can hold anyone coming through. And everyone's looking at this rotate as you walk through. As soon as you come through laundry as an attacker, you're looking at that and you turn it, you can barely even see, even though it's dead obvious now because we know it's there, but it's sort of in keeping with the aesthetic of the wall, like with this bit here as well. You can barely even see it really. Got loads of kills from there in the past. Holding freezer is an important one. You've got to hold freezer. I haven't reinforced this wall. I will do now. Should have done that in the prep phase. Well, in the video's prep phase. Holding freezer is super important, but nobody really plays freezer stairs. When there's a player who used to play for Elevate called Sapper, who was absolutely unbelievable at holding freezer stairs. And he would hold it, hold it a bit like you would elbow, you know, from here, put a couple of prox mines above the door there, start smoking it out. You've got to be super conscious if the hatch is open, it's going to cut your way back to sight off. But Sapper would sometimes just let that hatch open and still just fight here with the shotgun. He was so good. But yeah, definitely hold freezer, especially early round. And then you can just concede it and move back if you want to. You've got this angle on the box here, which is quite nice. You can see to the bottom of the stairs there. And just be careful, depending on the reload that you're in. I would always, as soon as I get to the bottom of these stairs, the first thing I'm going to do is pre-fire there every time. So just be careful, you're just perhaps not always holding that angle. The other place you need to definitely have a player is pillar. Now this person is going to be responsible for holding this door. Can hold into blue there and also holding onto tower stairs here. You've got to be generally a bit further back, and Azami goes pretty well here. Goes pretty well? Why am I talking like that again? And Azami is very functional here. Being able to like put an Azami Kiba barrier up here to hold a one-way angle onto the stairs. But obviously don't stand too far back because you're going to get domed from blue. That is Oregon Basement. Default plants are here. You can stop that with C4s and smokes from here. Just be careful of the hatch drop, obviously. The classic is the hatch drop and then come in and plant. Just as a tip for attackers here, by the way, is when people try and plant, they tend to come in here and plant like this. Right, tucked up against this cupboard. That is not the best plant spot, in my opinion, because it's wide open to freezer door. If you plant right on the door like this, a bit like you would down in bank basements, you can plant right on the door here. You then can't be seen from freezer. Granted, this angle is better if somebody is coming from here, because they're going to have to go all the way around to find you there, as opposed to just going to there. But that, in my opinion, this plant spot is better. You can go back down here in the corner as well, but you can just be seen from freezer. In my opinion, plant on the door and just have somebody. You can be planting there and you can have somebody just holding you over the top. Beware of this angle, by the way, as a defender or as an attacker. You can get an angle behind the bomb. If you pre-fire that when you drop the hatch, like you drop the hatch and then you just pre-fire that there, that'll get you result in a kill quite a lot of the time. Not always, but sometimes. A lot of fans in in Oregon Basement, isn't there? So that is Oregon Basement, again, in a nutshell. I think we've ran through pretty much everything we need to speak about. I don't think there's any gaps we've left. Let's get on to meeting and dining. Right then, meeting and kitchen. It is imperative that you learn how to play this site, because kitchen and dining is the worst defensive site on Rainbow Six Siege. So much so, I'm not even going to show the setup for kitchen dining in this video because I don't want you to use it. It is way too easy to go with thermite above here, put the thermite charge on the floor, and open this wall for absolutely free. If you want to think about defending it, you've got to start thinking about playing in small tower, which is a death sentence, but also then trying to stop the thermite from below with impact tricks. That's your only hope. I don't really want to show it on the video because I don't think you should be playing dining and kitchen. Everyone thinks this is the best third site. I promise you it's not. So we're going to start into meeting and then we're going to go upstairs because an upstairs hold is super important on this site. We'll start with this wall here onto green. I've made feet holes on both sides of the wall here. You don't want to do that. You want to make feet holes on one side. But it's up to you which side you want to do. If you make the feet holes this side, you can hold this angle towards people coming in through green door. The green door that's here. There. Or you can do the opposite and you can use the feet holes to watch this green door. You can do both sides. You can do either side. I mean, you could do both sides, but I think that's a bad idea. I personally prefer holding this side because that green door does, if you're an attacker and you have the feet holes open on the other side, you can be like way back here and hold an angle quite far through the site. it really cuts out quite a chunk of the site. I still like doing it as a defender, but I would prefer to have these open. Just be careful, obviously, of anyone coming up the attic stairs, the basement stairs. Attic? That's not right. Basement stairs. We've got the hatch open, and we'll come on to that in a second. We've reinforced this wall here that goes to garage, and this wall here that goes to into the corridor near Z. We've got a rotate between kitchen and meeting, and we put that rotate on the right side, so you can use this box for cover if you need to get through and fight behind the box. If it's on that side, you can just hold that from like way back further away. Also, the split door is then cut off. If you make the rotate there, you can't really play on this door either because you'd have a line of sight all the way through. Recommend barricading the split door, similar to what we did on the laundry basement. It depends what your roaming situation is, but that again, people just rush through the front door and will just appear in meeting here quite quickly. This gives you another audio cue that someone might be there. You've then got this wall, which is a bone of contention. You can, if you wish, reinforce that wall, and you can still see over the top, I think. Can you do that? Or does that go all the way to the top? I think you can still see... No, it goes all the way to the top. I take it all back. You can't see over the top. I've made the head holes there so you can see through the hatch, and you can see back into kitchen. There's an argument to say reinforce this, otherwise they could plant on this door. I prefer having the head holes here. We then got to rotate into security to get you out of kitchen in a squeeze. You can go up wide stairs and flank that way, or obviously just come back through to lobby this way. So let's go upstairs, because this is where it's the most important part of this site. So upstairs, we've basically got a setup that is like the upstairs setup. We've got a rotate here. We've got the feet holes here for jumping in big window. We've got a rotate between kids and attic. We've got these two walls reinforced. We've got the attic walls reinforced. Again, the hatch is to hold from here. Don't forget, you can't get vert on that door. So you can hold that door from above. That's that door there. You can hold that from above if you want to. I like playing up here with Cade because if you throw a Cade core here, it'll obviously reinforce, electrify those two walls, but also that wall below as well. Just if you are playing around this area, don't get your toes shot out through this drone hole, because I've died to that a few times. We want the hatch open so we can cover that door. We can cover the breach if it gets open. The most common plant spot is to come through this breach and try and plant behind the bench that you can't see over there. We've then also got angles towards that rotate, and you can also see back towards split, although it's a really unfavourable angle for you here. Like, they can see over on split down there, they can see our feet here. We can't see them unless we go prone. It's super important we hold up here. We then go through the rotate into kids. And like we just said before, holding there through into kitchen. I prefer the head holes. You can see so much there. We can make the same vert holes that we made when we were defending above for anyone coming through that door. We've also then got a little bit of vert here for anyone who's pushing through the security rotate. You can hold it from the hatch as well, but it's a bit of a cuter angle, so to speak, from the head hole, from the vert holes here. So yeah, super important you hold upstairs. You can then obviously, if you're holding upstairs, push down wide stairs and then flank this way. But you need at least 2 players upstairs, in my opinion. At least. Downstairs in sight, there's an angle you can hold like way back here, which is a nice place to play. This is a pretty anchory spot here. Obviously holding the rotate and that wall there. One nice thing to do to think about late in the round, if you've got a C4 left and you can drop, you could then sit down here and C4 over the top of here for anyone that's about to walk through. Assuming they've got the breach open, that is. But for anyone that's about to walk through here... Let me open this quickly. Anyone that's about to walk through here is have a C4 come up from the hatch there. Just be careful, obviously, if you drop and you miss your C4, you've then got to fight your way back up big tower stairs from the basement, which is not easy to do. But this is, my opinion, is a really solid site. It just doesn't get played anywhere near enough. I actually think top 4 in Oregon isn't the best. I think I'll prefer this site and basement, if I'm completely honest with you. We haven't mentioned this wall. You can make head holes here to hold security door if you want to. Security door's there. You can just reinforce it because you've got the rotate there, but it's up to you. I'm kind of on the fence with that one. I think I'll probably leave that soft most of the time. I don't think I reinforce that often. A lovely thing to do, by the way. Just be careful, attackers don't just rush this wall. Open this wall with ace and then just plant tucked here, because this angle here, like this plant spot here, is really well hidden from loads of the site. And you can get a plant off within like 30 seconds if the defenders aren't careful, so be careful there. There's nothing more enjoyable, in my opinion, in Siege when an attacker's about to walk in and you've not been droned. There's just something I thoroughly enjoy about sitting in this corner, like tuck it in like this. The attacker's coming through, like looking and split, looking that way, and he's coming around, like he's going to look towards back and meeting, and you're just stood there. There's just something I love about it. And you just follow them. Like, don't knife them straight away, just follow them for a little while and then knife them. I absolutely love the feeling. One thing I want to mention on this map, guys, that's the setup done, but I just want to show you why this map is unplayable, okay? on this wall, you'll see that there's a yellow cable in a grommet that goes through this wall here, okay? If we ping that, and we run to the other side, where's that yellow cable gone? It's a brick wall, so you'd assume there's no cavity in between. I just think it's something that needs addressing. It really frustrates me. You can see that there's the conduit here goes round. It sort of disappears within the wood, but I'll forgive that. That goes up into attic. It'd be interesting to see if that comes out in the attic. But yeah, that, for me, that goes through the wall in a grommet to protect the cable. So that meets regs. However, when we go on the other side, there's no yellow cable coming through that wall. Where's it gone? Right, that's meeting and kitchen. I'm not going to show you the meeting and dining strat, the setup on this video. You can go and look at the old chalet video if you want to, which shows it on there. Search A Littleton Chalet in YouTube. I'm not showing you because I want people to please... I said this last time in the last video. I said, don't play this site because it's nowhere near as good as this site. It's far easier to attack this site. Way easier. And people still, who I speak to, still haven't really grasped it. So I'm not showing it. And then hopefully people will start playing meeting kitchen instead because it's way better. So there we have it. Welcome back to the kitchen. Oregon defensive setup. Not changed massively, but there are some changes with the way the game's changed. In my opinion, you can be a bit more aggressive on the main breaches. Only in the early round to get drones and to waste time. Don't die there. But that's hopefully been shown on the setups. Thanks as always for watching the video. One thing I need to say more often is I somehow have a charm in the game. I don't know how, but all you've got to do is sub on Twitch. The link is in the description. Sub once, it supports me. You get a charm out of it. And my charm, if you use it on every single weapon, this is true, will increase your KD by 0.02, no, 0.2, not 0.02, that's not a lot, by 0.2, and you'll also encounter less cheaters just by equipping a charm. That's it. You've only got to sub once and it'll be on your account forever. Thanks as always for watching the video. Do us a favor, like, comment, subscribe, and all the stuff that helps me out on YouTube, and I'll see you on the next one. All the very best.